Hello, my name is Mary Kinyanjui. I'm an author, I'm an academic, and I'm a community mobilizer. I have written about 6 books. These books are about people who work in the margins of business and society. These are the people who work in markets, in Juakari, or they are small-scale farmers, also referred to as peasants. I've been writing for quite some times, and I've also taught at the university, and I clearly understand the importance of books written by African authors. 90% of the books in most libraries in Kenya are written by foreign authors. So I decided to take it as my mission and call to write books from an African perspective, from knowledge production from the South. This book, African Markets and the Ubuntu business model, is about the African markets in Nairobi. These are Gikomba, Wakulima Market, Kangemi, Githurai, Mutidwa, and all those markets that are in Nairobi, like Uhuru Market on Jogoo Road. This book outlines how these markets were created right from the colonial times when the city was being divided and Africans were not allowed to own businesses. They were supposed to walk around with their goods or have what they used to call mwariro. That is where they used to spread their goods and Africans would come and buy. So you note, right from the beginning of the city, nobody really took part in taking care of African markets where they are found. I decided to write these books because most people think that the African markets do not have an economic model. These people have an economic model which we need to study and apply in our textbooks and in the classroom. For example, one impressive thing I found about these books in the market is about the camera in Gikomba market, whereby they trade. The first person buys the best goods and pays so much for it. You read about the camera market in Gikomba from here. You read about pouring of resources. You read about how the traders later go and create cities like Mwihoko, Wedani, Kasarani, and even places like Goba Estate before it was invaded by high-rise building. Read this book and you will appreciate how our geniuses in the market operate. This second book is called Coffee Time. This book is about the story of my family, my grandfather, my uncle, myself, and my aunt, how we used to pick coffee and what used to happen during the coffee time. I compare coffee time at home with coffee time abroad. And coffee time abroad is a relaxing, nerve-calming experience. But the coffee time in our country is hard labor, where we spend most of our time working hard without even eating and later taking coffee to the factory. So I compare the two coffee times and show the differences and show how people extract from us. You will enjoy reading this book of Coffee Time. This other book is called The Sweet Sobs of Women in Response to Andro Pain. You note that in our societies today, much of the pain we experience is caused by other human beings, and that's why I call it andro pain. Andro pain is you find somebody just, like the case of Westgate, kills children, a priest is saying mass, he's stabbed, somebody decides to bomb, somebody decides to kill, or just fight, beat the wife, or somebody just kills the mother. There's so much pain around us. And what I decided was to go back to the history of my village, Gatodu North, and look at women in the past, how they faced pain. And I have a number of 8 women in the group, beginning with Jongoro from Katukoyo, and there was even a bus stop named after her, Jongoro. Then Njeri Wadugo, who was a freedom fighter, Fires wa Njeri, Nyokafi wa Mwema, who was a trader in Huru Market. If you read these stories, they are stories of resilience, stories that will inspire you and will help you overcome pains caused by people. You don't have to revenge or go to shame the person in social media, but you can do good like the women in this group who became mentors of others, served in church and community. Welcome to read this book. This book is Wanjiku in Global Development. Wanjiku is the ordinary woman in Kenya. During one of the multi-party democracy in Kenya, there was an elderly woman with a headscarf who had carried a placard just like the other middle-class demonstrators. She was quiet, carrying her own placard, and from there, we named all ordinary women Wanjiku. Wanjiku as women who are victims, women who have no agency. But my book contradicts this and shows that Wanjiku has a lot of agency. She feeds the tete, she takes care of our children, she takes care of our churches, and most of the rural churches depend on women, and very many other schools and many depend on women. The women covered in these groups are drawn from many parts of the country, Kakamega, Kisumu, the Kimarel goat auction, and they are also drawn from Central, doing various things in activities. By reading this book, you will see Wanjiku differently and be able to appreciate the work she does for us in our society. You are welcome to read this book. This book is about women in Nairobi. If I go back to history, women were not allowed to migrate into cities. They were supposed to remain in rural areas, taking care of farms and taking care of children while their husbands worked in the city. The interesting thing is that women, despite being denied entry into the city, they have made inroads and transformed what used to be Asian shops into stalls where they trade their goods, like in Tabeta Road, and many other places, you find women occupying stalls. You find that women were extremely disadvantaged. They could even be arrested at night for being prostituted, or they could, during the day, they were arrested as hawkers. So the city was not a safe place for them. And the writing of this book was inspired by the fact that during my trip from bus station, where we used to be dropped by Matatus number 44 to the University of Nairobi, I observed a great transformation of the shops into stores. And then I also observed that women occupied these stores, and like earlier on, where the shops were occupied by men, both Asian and African. So it is an interesting book to read, and you see the source of inspirations for the book, where a mama boga is shouting boga na matuda, and then an Asian buys from the top of a high rise. And I wondered, how do city planners place the women in the city? One in high rise building who cannot get down to the street, and another one hooking her goods. So it's an interesting read, and you'll be excited to read it. So I hope you will enjoy my books and you'll get them. Some are available in Amazon, while the others are available in Nuria Bookshop, Bazaar Building, Moi Avenue, or in Nisemia Publishers, Ufudi House, 5th floor, also on Moi Avenue. My name is Njeri Kinyanjui, kana ndagĩtarĩ Njeri, ũrĩa ũrathomithagia University of Nairobi, na nĩ athomithĩtie college ĩtagwo Mount Holyoke, Massachusetts, na ĩngĩ ĩtagwo Avila University, kũrĩa Kansas City, St. Emwe, visiting residents inactivist, agĩtetera maũndũ ma ũthii ma ihoto cia atumia cia andũ othe. Koguo-rĩ, enjoy these books and take a look also at another book in Nuria Bookshop called Sisterhood Economies, and also another one called Bakita Today. Go there to Nuria Bookshop, get your copies, and enjoy. If you have any questions, you can contact me through Oge Media. Muge nĩ mũtare na ũgĩ wĩ mbere ya hinya. Rekei tũmathe ũgĩ. Thengiũ mũno. Nĩ Njeri wa Raimondi na Mandarĩna, akuma kũrĩa Ng'ethu, Gatũndũ North, maciaranĩirwo na Jimmy, Nyambura, Gĩtaũ, Jane, Lydia, Gatherero, Tony, na the late Mũcũga, na late Gacohi, na nyina wa mũirĩtu wĩtagwo Nyambura, na twana twake twĩrĩ tũcũcũ twakwa. Ndamwĩhokera gũthoma wega na kũmatha ũgĩ. Thengiũ, na mũndũ ũngĩenda twaranĩrie no anyone through Oge Media. Thengiũ. Na nĩngwenda gũcokeria ngatho Matunda wa Nisemia Publishers, ũrĩa ũpublishĩte wĩra mũingĩ wakwa, na Francis Nyamchom ũkoragwo South Africa, nake nĩ apublishĩte wĩra mũingĩ wakwa. Na njokeria arutwo akwa ngatho arĩa ndathomithagia University of Nairobi na Kenyatta University, nĩ ũndũ wa ũrĩa mandirithĩtie, na andũ arĩa othe makoragwo marĩ thoko-inĩ, Uhuru Market, Kamukunji Juakari, nĩ moĩ ũrĩa tũtirithanĩtie na Sega Market Mombasa, matongoretio nĩ Benedict Nyambura na Uhuru Market, mũtumia wĩtagwo wa Kagiri, na Kamũkũnji, mũtumia wĩtagwo mama Kamũkũnji. Nĩ thengiũ mũno arata akwa, Maathai ũgĩ, na njokere rĩngĩ, ũgĩ wĩ mbere ya hinya, na mũgĩ nĩ mũtare. Thomai mabuku nĩgetha mũikare mũrĩ athomi. Thengiũ mũno, nĩ ndarĩkia, na tuonane hĩndĩ ĩngĩ.